Hello everyone, welcome back. So earlier previous lectures we have tested a one-to-one relationship with create by creating REST API, right? So if you want to test a one-to-one relationship with REST API, it will take time, right? So if you want to, because you have to create controller and you have to create service classes and you have to create you have to send request from REST client and then so it's a lot of process, right? So in this lecture I am going to teach you how quickly we can test one-to-one relationship with Spring Boot application. So we no need to create a controller and we no need to create service classes. We just need to create entity classes and JPA repository. So you are going to learn how quickly we can test one-to-one association with Spring Boot without creating a REST API. Let's start. So let me close all existing classes and let me open main application Spring Boot application.java. So this is Spring Boot application.java, right? So our application execution starts from here. So if you want to test Spring Boot application without for to test one-to-one relationship without creating REST APIs, so we can test with Spring Boot application, Spring Boot of main Java class. Okay, this is the Spring Boot application of main Java class. From here, actually execution will start, so we can test one-to-one relationship from this class. Okay, so now let me implement it. So before that, let me explain you one to one to make you to make it easily understand. I will take another example. We can quickly I will quickly explain you. Okay, so let me explain you, like let me open notepad plus plus. So I'm going to take one example with student and Aadhaar, student and Aadhaar card. So student can have can have student can associated with Aadhaar card, and Aadhaar card can associated with student. This is called one-to-one relationship mapping. So let me explain you with Excel sheet so that you can easily understand how mapping we are going to do. So let me create a student table. Okay, so let's say a student table will have ID and student name. Let me add a student name and okay, student first name I will add. First name and last name. Okay, student table, let's assume student table is having ID, first name and last name. So let me write Aadhaar card table. Okay, so Aadhaar card table will have Aadhaar card ID and Aadhaar card number, right? Aadhaar card number. Okay, so now here I will take one example, student ID 1 and first name will be, let me Let me expand this. Okay, so first name Rasul and second name Sheikh. Okay, similarly one more, second name Sachin, record number 2 I'm showing Tendulkar. Similarly Aadhaar card will have Aadhaar card ID and Aadhaar card number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, some dummy number I have added. Similarly another record, let me add 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and something, some dummy number. Okay, so now to maintain relationship between student table and Aadhaar card table, so we need to we should have relationship with both the table, right? So either student table can have Aadhaar ID, Aadhaar ID, right? So Aadhaar ID nothing but, so let's say Rasul's passport number is record number 1 in Aadhaar table. So that time what is the mapping? So Aadhaar ID will be 1 in student table. Similarly Sachin Tendulkar Aadhaar card number, let's assume it's 2. Nothing but relationship we have to maintain in student table will be 2. So this is how you can have as many number of students with a mapping with Aadhaar ID. Similarly vice versa we can do. How we can do that? So here who is the owner? Student table is is owner. Student is owning the relationship. Here Aadhaar card is non-owning relationship, right? So in vice versa also we can do. So how we can do that? So either, so I will remove Aadhaar card ID here. So Aadhaar card can have student ID. Let me expand this. Student ID column. Aadhaar card table will have student ID column. So student table will have only ID, first name and last name. So this time who is owning the relationship? This time Aadhaar card table is owning the relationship, because Aadhaar card table is having student ID. So like this, whether we can make a student table as a student table make ownership, and or Aadhaar card table make ownership, either this or either this one. So either student table or Aadhaar card table. So this is one simple example. So let's create how quickly we can test this one-to-one relationship mapping with Spring Boot without creating RESTful APIs. Okay, so now there there is a interface available in Spring Boot what is called command line runner. Command line runner. So command line runner is the interface, and it has a abstract method called run method. So what will happen? So whenever you start Spring Boot application, that time Spring Boot once initialize the application context internally. So after that, uh, this run method will be executed by Spring Boot automatically. You got right? So whenever you start the Spring Boot application, first the main method of Spring Boot application is being executed. So when it will when run method is being called, so after creating, once application context is being created, after that Spring Boot will execute run method automatically. So after that it will terminate the so after that it will successfully end the application start. Okay, so now let me prove you which one call first, which one call end. Okay, so testing purpose what I will do, system dot out dot println. So here let me put starting of Spring application. Okay, next let me add another statement, system dot out dot println. So here I am going to add another message like ending of Spring Boot application. Okay, so after that I will add one SOP inside the run method. Okay, so here let me add new line. So here I will add command line execution, command line runner execution started. Okay, so now I just saved the application. You can see in the console, once Spring Boot started successfully, you can see first which one is executed, which SPOP is displayed, starting of the Spring Boot application. After that, so application context is being created here, you can see. So after once application context is being created, so after that command line execute runner is executed, Spring Boot is executing command line runner of run methods. You can see command line runner execution started. So once run method is executed successfully, after that Spring Boot, end of Spring Boot application. So now we can understand when you start the application, this run method when it is being called, so first execution will starts from main method. So once application context is created by Spring Boot, so after that, so it will execute run method of command line runner. So once this is executed successfully, after that it will terminate the execution, end of Spring Boot application. So let me clear the console. I will show you one more time. So what will happen, so first this SOP will display during the execution. So after that, once application context is being created, then immediately run method is being executed. So after once it is successfully executed, what are all the statements we have written here, after that it will terminate the Spring Boot application, it will end of the Spring Boot application. Okay, so execution will start there. So now from here, now we are going to write all, we are going to test one-to-one relationship with the command line runner of run method. So from here we can test our one-to-one relationship without writing any REST APIs. Okay, this is one way to quickly test one-to-one relationship association. So now, so the example which I took, so student and Aadhaar card. So student can associated with Aadhaar card and Aadhaar card can associated with student. So that means one student can have only one Aadhaar card and one Aadhaar card can associated with only one student. So I am taking one simple example. So now let me create. So if you want to test one-to-one application in Hibernate, first what we have to do, we have to create entity. All right, so in this example I will create entity first, so student and Aadhaar card. So let me create, so there is a entity package already there, so I will create inside that class student, finish. So let me stop the server for the time being. So now, so how we can declare your class as an entity, entity annotation, organize the import, Control Shift F, Control Shift O. So now I'm going to create properties of student, private, long ID. Similarly, private string first name, private string last name. So I just want to create setters and getter methods. Source, and then click generate button. So now let me generate toString method. Source generate toString. So I just want to display uh, okay, let me display all. Click generate button. So now after that we need to create Aadhaar card class or entity. So let me right click a new class Aadhaar card. Finish. So how we can declare an entity? At the rate entity annotation. So now this will have properties called long Aadhaar card ID and private Aadhaar number. Okay, so now let's create setters and getter methods. Source, select all, click on generate. Let me create toString method. Everybody aware of it, right? So why toString method? So if you want to display object in Java, so you must override the toString method. Otherwise, you cannot display the data. Save. So our entities are ready. So now, so student. So if student table will have primary key, right? So what is that primary key? ID will be the primary key. Control Shift to organize the import, and who will generate the primary key of student? So let Hibernate generate. How it can generate? By using generated value. Let's give strategy type. I will give identity. Okay, so now student entity is ready. So now I will give first name last name as a same as is, so I don't want to specify the columns. So it will create first underscore name and last underscore name in database, right? Similarly in Aadhaar card, so let me create the primary key and generated value. Strategy will take identity. So now here Control Shift O. That's it. So now we have Aadhaar card is ready and student table is ready. So now, so who will create tables for us? Let's Hibernate create. So application dot properties here. I think I already defined update, right? So as of now, instead of update, so let me do create. I will give value as a create. So what does it mean? DDL auto create in the sense. So whenever you restart the server, whenever your server is restarted, so it will always delete the tables and create the fresh tables in database, new tables in database. Existing tables will be deleted and it will create, Hibernate will create new tables in database if you give DDL auto is equal to create, right? So now we already discussed in previous lectures. Okay, so now it's done. So let me start the server. What will happen? So before that, let me open the SQL yoke. So here in employee DB, so we have employee and passport, so we don't have a student and Aadhaar card table, right? So let me open the Eclipse and start the Spring Boot application. So I just started Spring Boot application. what will happen now? See, you can see there is a create employee. So since it is we have a employee and passport table and passport entities in our project, right? That's the reason it's recreated. So as of now, forget about it. So focus on passport and student. So you can see passport table is created and student table is created. So to avoid confusion, let me delete employee tables so that you guys will not have. I will just comment it out, and passport also I will comment it out. So let me comment all the properties in passport, or we'll do one thing. So delete it anyway, not needed. Passport, and otherwise I need to copy. I need to comment or service class repository everything, right? So I'm deleting two tables. So let me stop the server. So now application will throw exception, right? Because the student and all I am using in DTO. So let me delete DTOs also. I don't want. Similarly, I will remove JPA repositories as well. Let our project will have only Aadhaar and student to avoid confusion for you. Okay, so I will delete controller as well. So now we don't have other than Aadhaar and student, we don't have any other entities, right? So now let me start the server again. Okay, you can see. So create audio first. It is trying to delete, drop the tables, and then Aadhaar card table is created and student table is created. So if you open the database, refresh object repository, object browser, and you can see Aadhaar card, Aadhaar underscore card. You can see it is created as a Aadhaar underscore card, and uh, table name is a existing, we haven't deleted. So let me delete these two tables as well. Okay, so now we have only Aadhaar card and student. So if you see Aadhaar card will have only ID, primary key, and number. And student table will have ID, first name and last name. So but there is no relationship between them, right? So now let me create relationship between Aadhaar and student. So I will make a student as a uh, owner. I will make student entity as a owner. So if your student table is a owner, so then what we have to do? So student can associated with, you can see student can associated with Aadhaar card. So nothing but inside the student we have to create Aadhaar card property, right? So Aadhaar card, that's it. So now we just need to create setters and getter methods. That's it. So now to establish the connection, so what we have to do? So we have to define one-to-one relationship. So one-to-one relationship. Okay. save. See, the moment we add one-to-one relationship, so our tables hypernet is generated. Primary key in student table. You can see there is a primary key generated in sorry, foreign key generated in student table. Aadhaar underscore card underscore ID, and Aadhaar card will have only ID and primary key, right? So I number and primary key. Student table will have ID, first name, last name. Along with that, we have created a relationship, right? One-to-one relationship. It has Aadhaar card ID primary key. So if you open database and check, refresh object browser, don't get confused. Database name I have given earlier. We have created employee DB, right? So this DB name as a only employee DB. Okay. So but tables we have created passport and sorry, Aadhaar and student. So if you see, student table will have primary key of Aadhaar card. So this is a foreign key. So foreign key nothing but the primary key of another table. So here who is the this foreign key belongs to primary key of Aadhaar card table. So here this is a primary key and Aadhaar card underscore ID is a foreign key in student table. So now relationship established with student and Aadhaar card. So student is who is the owner here? Student is the owning the relationship, and Aadhaar card is non-owning the relationship. So student now, as of now, student only can access Aadhaar card. So just quickly how we can test this one, we'll see now. So to test the application, so we need a JPA repository. We need to create a JPA repository. So I'm going to perform database operation with JPA repository. So insert the JPA repository. I will create interface student JPA repository. Finish. So this will extend JPA repository. So here JPA repository is having generic type, right? Here we need to pass student entity, and primary key is long data type. I have to, so long. Now just declare it as a repository. So our repository is ready now. So let me stop the server as of now, otherwise it will keep on disturbing us. So now our student repository ready. Similarly, let me create Aadhaar card repository. Aadhaar card JPA repository. So this will extends JPA repository. So sorry, this should be interface. By mistake I have created a class. Let me delete. So let me create new interface Aadhaar card, and it can extend JPA repository. Okay. So now we need to pass Aadhaar card entity. So data type I took as a long. Declare our interface as a repository. That's it. So now we have entities are ready and repository is ready. So how quickly we can test one-to-one association, you can see now. So to test to save the to perform database operations, so what we need, so if you want to store store student information, so we need a JPA repository object. So let me create JPA repository instance. So how we can create, so private student JPA repository, control space student JPA repository. So we need to, earlier I told you, right? So Spring Boot, first it will initialize all the application contexts. So Spring Boot will create application context first, then only run method is being executed. That means our student repository is going to initialize by Spring Boot. So how we can define at the rate auto while. So now we have student JPA repository. So similarly, let me create private and Aadhaar card JPA repository. What is the name I have given? I just given Aadhaar card. So let me rename it Aadhaar card JPA repository. That's it. So now let's create Aadhaar card JPA repository. Aadhaar card JPA repository. So we will create object of this instance Spring Boot. So let me give auto while. So now we have student JPA repository, Aadhaar card JPA repository instance is ready now. So now we are going to perform one-to-one relationship between student and JPA repository. So if you want to store the student information, first you have to store Aadhaar details because it has foreign key relationship with the Aadhaar card table. Student is having relationship with the Aadhaar card. That's the reason first before insert, if you want to insert the student details, so first you have to insert Aadhaar card. So let me create Aadhaar card information. So Aadhaar card is equal new Aadhaar card spell mistake I have given. Okay, let me give Aadhaar card. What is the name I have given here? Entity name Aadhaar card. Okay, spell mistake. Okay, it's okay. Let's use the same name. ADD Aadhaar card. Okay, so now I let me set the data. How we can set data? Aadhaar card dot object dot set. We need to set the primary key because primary key is auto generated, right? So I just will just insert Aadhaar card number 12345, some dummy number. Okay, assume this is one Aadhaar card number. So now next student information we need to insert. We need to mock student data. Student is equal new student. That's it. So now we need to set student information. Student dot set first name Sachin. Student dot set last name Tendulkar. Okay, so now we have a student information ready, Aadhaar information ready. So let me store employee table. So how we can store? With the help of student JP, sorry, let me store student information. So what is the object repository name to store student information? Student JPA repository. So student JPA repository dot what is the method to save the data? Save method. So here I just pass student information. That's it. So let me start the server. We'll see what will happen. So in our database we don't have any data as of now in student table, as well as Aadhaar table. No data present, right? So let me start the application. See, so student table is created again. It is deleted and created again. Student table is created and Aadhaar table also created because in application properties I have given as a create. So now I will give instead of that later I will use. So let me test. So you can see now after that if you observe here there is a student is inserted and Aadhaar card also inserted. If you observe here there is a two queries are generated here. Alter table, insert into student values, and where is Aadhaar, insert query. See, Aadhaar is not stored. You can see open the table. Aadhaar details are not stored because only employee information is stored. Why? Because go to application. So here I have create Aadhaar card. I have Aadhaar card data we have added and student data I have added, but we haven't append. We have to set passport details with the student, right? So let me set student information with Aadhaar information with student. So let me set student to dot because we haven't set Aadhaar card with student object. So here you need to pass Aadhaar card. So now let's see what will happen. Yeah, so it is unsaved transient instance before flushing. So what I am doing it here. So I am trying to insert student repository, but before inserting student repository, so we need to first insert Aadhaar card, right? So let me insert Aadhaar card. How we can insert Aadhaar card with the help of Aadhaar JPA repository. That's the reason that error we got. So Aadhaar card. Yeah. So now we'll see what will happen. You can see insert into Aadhaar card and insert into student class. So now student information also inserted and Aadhaar information also inserted. If you open the database, let me refresh. You can see this is student ID and first name and last name and Aadhaar card foreign key is added in database student table. Similarly in Aadhaar card we data also inserted. So this is one directional mapping because student only is associated with Aadhaar card and student only owning the relationship. So now let me find let me fetch the details. See how quickly we can test a one-to-one relationship without writing RESTful API. It's very easy. Now I want to fetch the data. How we can fetch the data? So I want to fetch student information. So with the help of student JPA repository, I can test. I can fetch find student information by find by ID. So 1L. So what is the primary key? I'm getting first record. So what it will return? It will return student student object. student display. I will give object name as a student display. So this should be student jpa repository dot find. So let me print the values. Let me clear the console. Student information, student display. So this is the object we have to give student display. Similarly, I want to display passport details as well. System dot out dot println. So here I will display, sorry, Aadhaar card, Aadhaar card information. So plus student display dot get Aadhaar card. So let me, before saving the file, so the moment you save the file, our server will restart automatically and our run method is being executed. First it will insert the passport and employee, so passport and student details. After that it will fetch student information and passport information. So let me clear the console and let me save the file. You can see server restarted now. If you observe, so along with the student information also displayed and Aadhaar card also displayed. So if you observe, actually, so it is a eager fetch. Why passport information is not displayed? So let me debug and check. So by default, if you don't specify any fetch operation, so in one-to-one relationship, by default, whenever you are trying to fetch the data, it will be eager loading. So let me prove that eager loading nothing but, so if you see here, what I am trying to do it here. So here I am just trying to fetch employee information and displaying employee information. So in student table, so I have, so okay, let me open the console. Let me clear, is there any data here? No, nothing is there. So if you observe, so in this step what I am doing, I am trying to fetch the student information and displaying student information. So here so by default one-to-one relationship, so when you are trying to fetch the details, so it will be eager loading nothing but along with the student details you will find Aadhaar card details as well. So let me prove that. So internally, even if you don't want Aadhaar card details, if you are trying to fetch student details, still internally Hibernate will join the Aadhaar card table to fetch the student information along with student information. So let me put breakpoint here, and so I will stop the server. I will run in debug mode so that you can easily understand now. Yeah, breakpoint came here, right? So here what I'm trying to do, I'm going to explain you eager loading and lazy loading with student and Aadhaar card relationship. So now I'm trying to fetch student display. I'm trying to fetch student information. If you just check, I will put breakpoint, one more breakpoint here, just function F8. I put breakpoint here and press function F8, control came to here. If you see in console, the moment this statement is executed, see internally Hibernate is fetching Aadhaar card details also. It is doing left join. The moment this statement is being executed to fetch the student information, So I am just requesting for student information. So along with the student information, Hibernate is generating left join with Aadhaar card as well, even if I don't want Aadhaar card details. This is nothing but eager loading or eager fetching. Okay, so whenever I'm trying to fetch the student details, so Hibernate is generating along with the select query, and it is joining left join with Aadhaar card table, even if you want only student display, because it is eager loading. So sometimes whenever in real time environment, if you want to do eager loading, it might be performance issues because you are requesting student information, but along with the student information, Hibernate is joining Aadhaar card table as well, because it has one-to-one relationship. Even in one-to-one relationship, so if you want to fetch student table, so Hibernate should fetch only for student table. So how we can do that? We can implement with lazy operation. So you can see here again student display will be come. So again function F8 I will do. So both the statements are executed and Aadhaar card information is printed. So now let me uh, change fetch operation as a lazy type fetch. So you can easily understand, guys. I am giving one more example to make you understand one to one relationship. Okay, so now if you open the console, there is nothing, no logs available, right? So now let me this time, now I'm going to perform lazy operation. So lazy loading nothing but, so Hibernate will not to fetch Aadhaar card details. So if you go to there earlier in eager loading, whenever this statement is executed, that time Hibernate is joining with student table, because that is eager loading. So now I have explicitly specified lazy loading, right? In student entity, I have specified with lazy loading. So now the moment this statement execute, Hibernate will not fetch student details. Let me execute function F8. So you can see Hibernate is not joining the Aadhaar card details. So Hibernate is trying to fetch only student details. Then when student details is going to fetch, sorry, when Aadhaar card details are going to fetch, whenever needed, whenever you needed, that time only Hibernate will generate query to fetch Aadhaar card details. This is nothing but lazy loading. So now if you see the moment this statement is executed, so select star from student only. So Hibernate is not joined Aadhaar table. So when Aadhaar card details will display, so whenever you need in the sense, whenever you are calling get Aadhaar method with the help of student objects, so that time only, whenever you are executing this statement, that time only Hibernate will generate the query to fetch Aadhaar card details. So let me execute that as well. Function F6, so student information is displayed. So now you can see as of now only select statement for student. So now the moment student display dot get Aadhaar method is executed, function F8, you can see in console select operation to fetch Aadhaar details. So whenever you need, that time only Hibernate will fetch Aadhaar details in by specifying lazy operation with the help of fetch is equal fetch dot lazy. This is nothing but lazy loading. So in real time environment, you should always perform lazy operations. You should not perform eager loading. Why? Because if you perform eager loading, whenever trying to fetch the student information, it will whether you not needed also, Aadhaar card details also will come as part of student information. Along with student, Aadhaar details also will display in eager loading. So in lazy loading, if you fetch student information, you will get only student information. When you will get Aadhaar information, whenever you are calling the method get Aadhaar, whenever you are needed, that time only Hibernate will generate query to fetch Aadhaar detail. This is called lazy loading. See, very easy how quickly we tested one-to-one relationship. This is unidirectional mapping, right? As of now, employee only, sorry, Aadhaar card only, student only can access Aadhaar card. This is unidirectional mapping. Let me establish bidirectional mapping. Nothing but, so Aadhaar card also can access student display. So before that, let me fetch Aadhaar details. How we can fetch Aadhaar details? With the help of Aadhaar JPA repository. Let me copy Aadhaar JPA repository object dot find by ID, specify long on L. So now why I am specifying L? If you don't specify L, it will treat it as a double. So if you given L, then it will treat as a long. It will take as an integer. If you remove, see, if you remove L, what will happen? This method find by long is undefined type for the int. So by default, it is taking as a int. So why? Because primary key. What is the primary key of our JP repository? Long. I have given long. That's the reason we have to specify explicitly 1L. So dot get. That's it. So now it will return Aadhaar card details. Aadhaar card display. I will name it as a Aadhaar card display equal. So yeah, breakpoint is running in DB. Whenever you modify the file, server will restart automatically, right? So let me stop the server for the time being. Let me write the logic. So I just want to display this is not needed. So Aadhaar display, I want to fetch Aadhaar details. Information, right? So now here let me comment it out as of now, this one. Okay, now I am trying to fetch Aadhaar card detail. So let me run in debug mode only. Yeah, breakpoint came. So first student details will be fetched, function f8. So here, so now let me clear the console. So we'll see now when you are trying to fetch Aadhaar card details, I just clear the console, nothing is there. So I'm trying to execute, I'm trying to fetch Aadhaar details. So function, let me put breakpoint here so that function f8 it will come directly here. See, select. So as of now Aadhaar card details only is coming. So along with Aadhaar card there is no employee information because we have implemented unidirectional only. So let me execute. So you can find only Aadhaar details. So because Aadhaar doesn't have relationship with student, so let me implement bidirectional mapping in Aadhaar card. So earlier we are able to fetch Aadhaar card details with student because student is having one-to-one relationship, right? So student is the owner of relationship. So whenever you are trying to fetch student information, along with student information you are able to fetch Aadhaar card. But Aadhaar card doesn't have relationship with student. So for that we need to implement bidirectional mapping. How we can do that? Let me stop the server and private student. So let me create, generate setters and getter methods. Finish. So how we can declare? So now one to one. So student Aadhaar card can access student as well. So one to one mapping, one to one. So that's it. So if you bidirectional mapping, right, so we should not, if you make it one to one, so what it will display, so in Aadhaar card, inside the Aadhaar card table, so student ID also will display. So that means we are duplicating the data. So student also will have Aadhaar card, and Aadhaar card will have student information. Similarly, student is having Aadhaar and student information, and Aadhaar will have student and Aadhaar information both. So it is duplicating data if you specify like this. So that's the reason we have to make Aadhaar card as a non-owning relationship. So to make non-owning relationship, we have to specify mapped by. So what we have to give? So the object which we have given here, Aadhaar card. That's it. Mapped by nothing but Aadhaar card entity as a non-owning relationship. So we are just mapping Aadhaar card details with student. So that's it. So let me do, by default it is a eager operation, eager loading, right? So let me start the server now. Let me run in debug mode. uh, Let me start, later I will run in debug mode. Okay, if you open the database, if you see refresh object repository and employee table, first let me open student table. So student is having Sachin Tendulkar and uh, primary key of Aadhaar card. Similarly, in Aadhaar card, if you see Aadhaar card details we have. So now if you fetch, let me clear the console. Now I am trying to fetch Aadhaar card details. If you try to fetch Aadhaar card detail this time along with the Aadhaar, student information also is displayed. So let me remove breakpoint here. So let's test bidirectional mapping. So now Aadhaar also can access student information. Let me run in debug mode. Function f8. What's happened? So now we are going to test bidirectional mapping. So Aadhaar card also can able to access student information, right? So because we have added bidirectional mapping in Aadhaar card, so Aadhaar card will have student property. So now let me start in debug mode to show you bidirectional mapping. Put breakpoint is here. So now let me clear the console. So now we are testing bidirectional mapping. So the moment Aadhaar card, we are fetching Aadhaar card 1L. So Aadhaar card 1, sorry, Aadhaar card 1 we are trying to fetch. So what will happen in background we'll see. So let me put breakpoint also here. So function f8. If you see the console, so Aadhaar card details are fetching along with student information. Aadhaar card is fetching along with student information because Aadhaar card is having now bidirectional mapping with student. So this is eager loading. So let me execute function f8. So bidirectional mapping also eager loading, right? So because by default in one-to-one mapping what will happen, so whenever you're trying to fetch the records it will be eager operation or eager loading or eager association. So now let me make it as a lazy operation strategy. fetch type lazy. So now, so breakpoint came here. So let me clear the console. Function f8. If you see now, only Aadhaar card details is being fetched. Aadhaar card details are being fetched, and student details when it is going to fetch, because so here I have displaying Aadhaar card information, right? That's the reason uh, student information also is going to display, because two string method we have added, right? So because of that, so now let me clear the console and execute. So to testing purpose, so let me get student information. Get student information. So here to differentiate you, so student information. So function f8, you can see now. Before that, let me clear the console. And the moment you are trying to fetch Aadhaar card details, function f8, you can see only student information is being fetched. You can see only student information is being fetched. So Aadhaar card, when it will display, so this is one previous one actually. Let me clear again. So now the moment you call student information, that time only student information is going to execute in database. So now function f8, if you see here, so student information is displayed only the moment you called get student method. That time only it is being executed. This is called lazy operation in bidirectional mapping. Let me show you one more time. So let me just control space save. So server will restart. Clear the console. You can inspect also, guys. Right click and you can click on inspect. Oh, that is still is not executed. That's the reason. Function f8. So whenever needed, so when you are trying to fetch or the in lazy loading operation, only Aadhaar card details is being fetched. And whenever you needed, whenever you can see, whenever you needed, whenever you execute get student method, that time only Hibernate will generate select statement to fetch student information. This is called lazy loading function effect. So now we can see student information also displayed. So this is how we can test one-to-one association mapping with command line runner without writing REST API. Is very easy, guys. You have to practice one time. Okay, in next lecture I will explain about another mapping. Okay, thank you, guys. Guys, make sure you guys are practicing every day. If you practice, then only you can achieve your development skills. Okay, otherwise no, simply listening classes will not help you. So if you want to improve your development skills, you always have to practice. See why I am teaching again and again one-to-one mapping, because there are several ways are there. We can test with REST API, we can test with command line runner, just now you saw, right? So and also we can write JUnit test cases also. By writing JUnit test case also, we can test our relationship without writing REST APIs. How quickly we can test? See, very easy. Simply you have to create entities, and you just need to create JPA repository. After that, your Spring Boot application main class should implements command line runner and override run method, and inside that whatever operations you want to test, just write the business logic inside this run method. Okay, thank you, guys. So who are all watching newly, so please subscribe my channel. If you subscribe, you will get more every day new videos. Okay, updated videos. My channel will be, name will be YouTube slash Rasul slash Sheikh slash playlist. So you can subscribe and you can watch all the videos. So every day I will upload one updated video with a new concept. Okay guys, so far I have explained one to one with two examples: student and passport, sorry, employee and passport, and student and Aadhaar card. So in previous lecture you can watch student sorry, employee and passport one to one association mapping, and in this lecture you can see another example: student and Aadhaar card one to one association mapping. So how quickly we have tested? It's very easy. So unidirectional mode as well as bidirectional mode. Okay, thank you guys.